This weekend, organizations throughout the city of Aurora will be hosting events to help combat youth violence. One of those events will be a youth-led and organized forum. The nonprofits Illuminate and A Promising Future are sponsoring the forum that will allow youth and young adults to express how they feel about the recent uptick in violence in Aurora.
Aurora, Colorado. Who you think is responsible for the crime and mayhem and murder that has these kids so scared that, like, this has to be done? It's so bad up there that this has to be done. Who you think is responsible for this? We had a guy on the live stream the other day. I had to give him the boot, although he's welcome to come back next time with some facts. But I had to give him the boot because he was on there saying that all this stuff, everybody's doing this. Everybody's killing in their own community. Everybody's murdering at high rates in their own community. And I asked him to name me one town where 10 glacier gliders have been killed this year. One town. He couldn't name me one. Then I asked him to name me one town where gliders make up 10% of the murder victims. He couldn't name me one. So I had to give him the boot because he was proclaiming all this stuff and he couldn't name me one. Not 2, not 15, not 20. One.
The nonprofits Illuminate and A Promising Future are sponsoring the forum that will allow youth and young adults to express how they feel about the recent uptick in violence in Aurora. A Promising Future program director Tia Davis Burns and organizer Shayna Shaw say it's time to give them a platform, hear how they're feeling, and what they think should be done.
What about the child that's in the bathroom that's being traumatized by the incident? And how are they sleeping at night? How are they eating? How are they coping with, the experience of literally being faced with the life or death situation? Because bullets don't have names, So when they start flying, they're not targeted to specific individuals. So I think the thing that's most important is to consider the fact that their voice is the one that needs to be heard.
I think giving them an opportunity to have a platform, one, it allows us as adults to see that they are more capable than what we give them credit for. They are more valuable than what we acknowledge, and their voices do matter.
Following several weeks of shootings involving teens, the Aurora Police Department announced increased patrols near schools. Both Davis Burns and Shaw say that's a reactionary response, but it's time to be proactive.
I wonder how many dollars from the city go into more policing as opposed to more preparation and putting money into things
like your pockets and your little dumb program that ain't gonna help nothing. Look how bad it is with your program. Your program has been around all this time that it's been getting worse and worse and worse. But you don't want to give money to the police, the tried and true effective method. You want us to give it to more programs like you, so you can give yourself a salary. Give your little cronies salaries where y'all sit in the office and shuffle around papers and occasionally go do speaking engagements or get on the news and talk this blabbermouth BS you talking. That's what you want. That's where you want the money to go to. That's what all these people in all these cities want. When they say that, preventing. What do you mean preventing? They talk this stuff in Philadelphia. The murder rate's doubled in the last 2 years. It went from like 250 murders a year to 500 and counting every year. And you got a bunch of people like this there talking about, so give us more money because we're preventing it. What the hell are they talking about?
I I wonder how many dollars from the city go into more policing as opposed to more preparation and putting money into things like community organizations that create programming.
The first youth forum and discussion will be held Saturday at Gateway High School from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That will be for youth ages 14 to 25. Another forum will be held for middle school students only from noon to 2 p.m. at Global Village Academy.
Helping tonight, a 13 and a 14-year-old are facing charges after a shooting near an Orlando school. The younger teen is charged with attempted murder. The shots were fired near Carver Middle School right after school let out for the day yesterday.
Did anyone hear about this school shooting? Well, technically, it was right when the students were let out. 13 and 14-year-olds. Nobody heard about this, right? Don't worry, we on it. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the PayPal, Cash App, Super Chat. Just some, that's what they do. It's not as important as when, gliders do it. When glider teams, glacier glider teams, because, that's really a problem. We need to, address that, When, some teams do that all the time. I mean, come on, man. That's what they do. That's literally the Young Turks, MSNBC, CNN. That's their stance. That's their tact when talking about these school shootings. I mean, come on. They can't control themselves. It's just what they do. One of their kids shoot up, it's the round-the-clock coverage. The parents, they tracking down the parents, finding the parents hiding up in a warehouse. These kids, poverty, underlying issues. Basically, there's no solution.
Tonight, a 13 and a 14-year-old are facing charges after a shooting near an Orlando school. The younger teen is charged with attempted murder. The shots were fired near Carver Middle School right after school let out for the day yesterday. No one was hit, but as Fox 35's Stephanie Buffamonte reports, the community is very concerned.
School is done for the day, but officers were here at every corner of this intersection outside of Carver Middle, making sure students got home safely. But parents say more needs to be done.
If you're waiting on somebody, you're waiting by me.
Orlando police say in the last 2 weeks, they have had an increased number of school resource officers at Carver Middle because of the number of fights off campus.
This is a middle school. Okay? This isn't even a high school. This is a middle school. And look, I'm from the stand, so I remember it was called junior high school back in my day. And yeah. But this is a middle school. And all of them are like this in the stand. It's just Carver High School's day in the news.
Increased number of school resource officers at Carver Middle because of the number of fights off campus.
It wasn't only about yesterday, it's about every day. There's fights, there's no control, no teachers.
A Carver Middle School parent tells Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie violence is an everyday occurrence at the school and something needs to change.
I don't want to be seen because I'm afraid for myself. I'm afraid for the community. Something has to get done as soon as possible.
She's afraid of some 12 and 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and she should be. She's a sister, so they'll smoke her easy. This is sister smoking season. Slaughter sister season. Still, I don't even have to say nothing in this video. Like, they're pretty much saying everything.
I don't want to be seen because I'm afraid for myself. I'm afraid for the community. Something has to get done as soon as possible.
Initially, police thought there was a large fight after school yesterday, but now they say students were actually running for cover when two teens from a private school a few minutes away, El Bethel Christian Academy, fired shots. They say it was over a dispute with a student here at Carver Middle.
Send your kids to private school. Get them out of the public school. There's no solution. Okay? There's nothing you can do. You just can't be around them. You can't be around us, man. There's no solution, man. Distance, I guess that nothing can be done. And if you think there is, please, Tuesday, 9:30 p.m., come, Ock Nation TV, hit the StreamYard link, and please educate us.
But now they say students were actually running for cover when two teens from a private school a few minutes away, El Bethel Christian Academy, fired shots. They say it was over a dispute with a student here at Carver Middle. Skyfox shows the large police presence. A 13-year-old is facing 3 charges, including attempted first-degree murder and aggravated assault with a firearm. And a 14-year-old was charged with carrying a concealed firearm.
While we're doing all we can to keep those children safe, to prevent all the fights, it's for community leaders to step up and to come here after school, for parents to come here after school and help us to walk these kids safely home.
I spoke with a former Carver Middle School substitute teacher on the phone. She believes the problem is that there aren't enough teachers and staff around after dismissal, and says some students take advantage of that.
Hey, there's no supervision here. We can do whatever we want. And matter of fact, let's start a fight here after school.
She told me she felt so unsafe teaching at Carver Middle, she quit.
In 2018, when I was teaching there, it was bad with just the fights and the violence breaking out after school. So I can't even imagine today where now there's guns involved. I mean, what is the prediction for 5 years from now if they don't get a handle, on that school and then schools just like it?
This is a middle school that they're talking about. Like, remember when we were kids, all the movies were about, like, high schools. Stand and Deliver. Lean on Me. I mean, now they're going... This is a middle school. It sounds like a prison. This literally sounds like a disgruntled correctional officer talking about her time at a prison.
In 2018, when I was teaching there, it was bad with just the fights and the violence breaking out after school. So I can't even imagine today where now there's guns involved. I mean, what is the prediction for 5 years from now if they don't get a handle on that school and then schools just like it?
I reached out to the private school where the two teens facing charges went. They told me they did not want to make a comment. Stephanie Buffmati, Fox 35 News.